any business that would like to scale and have profits, which is the ultimate aim of every business in existence, it is done with people. Same thing as an entrepreneur when they're seeing their business. They feel like if they're not doing the touch and feel and walking into every piece, the business might be in trouble.
2026, building a highly resilient, future-ready enterprise requires moving past simple administrative oversight to install continuous process optimization.
We do not have control in external factors that impact us. So when we are focusing in what we have control in, it allows us to be better to respond to those external factors that are not in our control.
Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Startup Growth Podcast. Today, we are analyzing the structural integration of large-scale manufacturing operations, workplace innovation systems, and corporate leadership alignment frameworks. In 2026, building a highly resilient, future-ready enterprise requires moving past simple administrative oversight to install continuous process optimization, value-driven employee retention strategies, and ethical human-to-AI operational balances that protect long-term market output. Joining us today is Kiran Mann, a premier Canadian business strategist, transformational leader, and the CEO of Brar, one of Canada's largest South Asian food brands. Kiran is the visionary founder of M2M Business Solutions, where she directs a globally distributed advisory team across 4 countries, specializing in business process engineering and workforce engagement. An EY Entrepreneur of the Year finalist and host of The Morning Kiran, she is currently completing doctoral research focused explicitly on corporate governance, emerging technologies, and the future of work. So, before further ado, let's welcome this very special guest. Kiran, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here and speaking with you and to all the audience that is going to be listening to it.
Of course. Now, I'm sure everyone knows about you. You are such an inspiring person. So, firstly, to begin the conversation, what is your favorite thing about entrepreneurship that you enjoy the most?
What's my favorite part? I would say something new every single day.
Wow.
I'm not really the right person that is wired to do a status quo and a repeat forever.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we as human beings are creators, so
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy and love creating something different and improving on whatever is already in existence.
So much more power to you. Now, Kiran, many executive teams inside fast-moving consumer goods and heavy manufacturing sectors, they treat employee well-being and top-line profitability as competing priorities. So let's start the conversation by understanding how can leaders align employee well-being with business performance to scale sustainably?
I think that's a beautiful question. Many times I notice that well-being, which I define it as human fulfillment, and business success, they are looked as 2 different identities.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I personally believe and have experienced they coexist. They're interconnected because any business that would like to scale and have profits, which is the ultimate aim of every business in existence, it is done with people.
Mm-hmm.
And people perform the best when they're allowed to understand who they are in the business, how do their capabilities and something that they enjoy and excel in is connected with what the business is trying to achieve. When that matchmaking is done properly and they're supported and guided and provided all the tools that they require, the trainings that they require, they do amazing work. They also feel very fulfilled on a daily basis, and they can see where they are moving, where the company is moving, and that they're aligned to it. And one important thing is that you always recognize them, you support them, do a check-ins with them. And when you are doing all that part on the human sided, aligned with your inputs from where you began of what your vision is and where you're taking the business, they are interconnected and moving together in alignment. The results are always sustainable, scalable, profitable businesses.
Wow, very well articulated. I think for majority of our small business owners, um, realizing that people are any organization's biggest asset is a boon. And the sooner they realize it, I think the better everything falls into place. Now, I'd love to touch upon how leaders can navigate setbacks and build that self awareness that is needed to lead through uncertainty. So, Kiran, how do you suggest entrepreneurs navigate personal and professional setbacks while defining their leadership identity? Because leadership is a different meaning to each individual. So, how do you see it?
I think, first of all, it's very important to understand and be aware that your personal, financial, professional, any kind of setback that has come in your way, announced or expected, does not define you. It only reveals you.
Hmm.
So I personally feel that over the time, as leaders in organizations, we keep on taking different roles. We're growing and we're moving from personal to a young kid to to become something different in your teenager, and you keep on adding different roles as a person in a relationship, as a person in your family, as a person in your school, in your network, in your universities, in your workplaces. Your relationships bucket is growing, and every bucket has a different identity of you. And at some point we start working towards those identities and the outcome attached to those identities. And when there is a setback to that, we feel we failed. We feel emotions of sadness or frustration or disappointments and so on. But if we define that as you, me, I, what is it? Me, myself, I, then it's only one. It's your identity. You're just hopping on different roles to satisfy the external life that you're living in, the different responsibilities that you're fulfilling. And if it worked, awesome. If it didn't, it's going to teach you something. It's going to tell you what you need to change for the next time. It's going to tell you something that is going to allow you to expand to become the new person that you might be becoming tomorrow. So I would say to sum it up, it's not defining you, it is revealing you. So ask yourself, who am I without these titles, without the company, without the success? Who am I as an individual?
This episode almost feels therapeutic to me. Kiran, that's a very important lesson because I think strong leadership starts with understanding your values before making, critical decisions, be it business, personal, or any, right? Also, as women, we are often wearing so many hats, right? Often trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect sister, the perfect wife. So when we enter the business world, we often enter rooms where there's a lot of male dominance or where we don't see a lot of other women ourselves on those seats, right? So I'm sure you also might have come across a lot of similar situations. So in those times, what goes on in your mind and how do you deal with it?
Between a men and a women group of professionals. Um, I think I might have a very different opinion than many articles that I read around myself. I personally feel that yes, there is a difference because we're two different creatures. You know, I always say women have DNA of being perfect, have a lot of emotions. Everything is about how we feel. Men are about how they think, you know. They don't kill themselves that way the way women do. So there is a behavioral DNA difference, I would say. That's there. You can change that. But it's important to be aware of that because once you know that you are a person, you are an animal of feelings all the time, and you're going to dissect everything and question your abilities and your performance. We are so good as women that self-judge ourselves. We self-criticize ourselves. So that is a differential, yes, between men and women. But as a performance or something, I personally don't define a category of men and women. I usually define a category of people that take the ownership of protecting and providing that is around them versus that don't take accountability and ownership of the same. So I working in automotive for so long and being raised in a family where my dad is was an army. So between the army and automotive, I would say I've been surrounded with more men in my life than women in workplaces and also in personal life. And I see the same pattern. There are men that are exactly how many of us are as women. We own the responsibility, so do they. They are also concerned about what they're protecting and providing. They're also the ones that get exhausted in the evening and go home and are trying to help in the house with the family, with the kids, with their partners. So the roles are played very similarly. The only difference is when we feel pain, we express because we feel it. Men feel it too, but they just internalize it internally. So that is the difference I've personally experienced so far.
That's a very practical experience that you've shared, right? And I'm sure, of course, we all agree with it. The way we express our emotions is significantly different from how we do and how men do. Um, from that perspective, I'm sure you've been across so many businesses, so many entrepreneurs, men and women. What is the biggest mistake when you see someone scaling a business?
Not having a right foundation. I always say business is a bigger picture of a house.
Mhm.
Do we build a house without a foundation there? We don't. So why would it be any different when you're actually creating a bigger structure than your own house itself? So foundation is important, and especially when we start a business from a startup or a small size, we as founders or owners have that ability that it's our baby. You know, we had the vision, we had that idea, we created it, we built it piece by piece and we are now growing it. But when we're growing it, it's no different than how a mother feels when the kids are ready to go to university. We feel like the kid cannot function without us and we're worried about the kid. Same thing is an entrepreneur when they're seeing their business. They feel like if they're not doing the touch and feel and walking into every piece, the business might be in trouble. But that is the art of learning to trust what you are, what you have created to, and allow it to grow because one individual can never grow a business. You can grow to a certain extent, but after that, you're going to need the help. I personally believe in the framework that I've launched, Harmonic System, and I believe in ecosystem, in integration and togetherness. So if you don't have those right players around you that are doing the right things and don't have the right processes and the right structures, it becomes challenging to sustain and scale. So it's important to understand those foundational pieces of right people, right timing, right systems, right governance processes. If we're missing those pieces, we are not allowing that baby to grow further. And you need that ammunition. You need all those amazing people that are going to be the smarter than you, that know specific pieces, not you as a general, but they know the specific things that they need to do and they make you look smart.
Definitely. I think you're just hitting the nail on the head with those answers because um, having the right people by your side is also a big blessing that, a lot of people don't recognize. We'll take a quick break right here, but don't go anywhere because when we come back, we'll explore how organizations can maintain culture, innovation, and alignment across teams operating in different locations. Stay tuned. To the enterprise directors, operations managers, and scaling business owners watching, letting internal culture friction or unoptimized processes drain your output is a massive operational failure in 2026. Kiran and her global advisory team at M2M Business Solutions have officially launched the Harmonic System, a premier leadership framework designed to streamline your business workflows and maximize team productivity. Visit kiranmann.com today to secure a strategic organizational audit and scale your corporate performance safely. Welcome back. Let's dive into the strategies that help leaders build strong, connected teams while scaling across regions and borders. A lot of operational workflows have changed as well, specifically with artificial intelligence now in the picture, right? So, if I were to give you a time machine right now and say we were to travel 5 or 10 years into the future, when you get out of the time machine, how exactly do you envision AI taking over all the industries? Specifically, what do you think the importance of human element is going to be?
So I think, first of all, we need to recognize the fear that we have created around AI.
Mhm.
You know, did the world stop when we reached 2000? We didn't. We thought the world is going to end at that time too.
Mhm.
And understand that internet came in and there was a big buzz that we're going to be out of control. Yes, everything has a space of how it is utilized, not the ability or its existence.
Mhm.
So internet is there. How we use it to the good sides or do we use it for not such good intention is the outcome of it. So is AI. AI is considered as something that's going to replace people. I completely disagree with that. I, for so long, told myself, which many people say, that AI is a tool. It's a tool that is allowing you to to share, or I would say, delegate the task
Mhm.
that are repeated task. Don't waste your time in doing that. The task that is going to help you in thinking. There's a lot of thinking models now in AI allows you to have that AI as your uh, s- room of smart people that you can talk and say, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And it's giving you those ideas that allow you to expand your strategic thinking. So AI is that tool that is allowing you to give away certain tasks and have more time on your hand to be the creator. Like I said, human being is a creator by its existence.
Mhm.
We want to do the things that's going to help create. Why do we want to do the same Excel entries 10 times every single day when we can have somebody else do that and use our time to create another model that can do better than Excel or anything? Like, not giving anything against Excel, I probably use it every single day. But I'm saying is what we have versus what can be created.
Right.
So AI is to be used for as a tool to allow people to do more things than they're currently doing. The second part is AI is also helping us by by taking the time that we don't have today
Mhm.
in building something new,
Yes.
right? So that's the focus. But what is important on that part is that we as human have to shift. If we were the people that were doing what AI can do today, we need to shift into the true essence of a human being in creation, in strategic thinking, in decision making, in expansions, in going into more depth to improve your businesses. There's so much of the task that only human can do.
Right.
And it's more like a mind shift, and also the skill set shift. It's a different shift skill set you need when you're doing the task versus when you're now going to be the thinker. So personally, I feel it is allowing a human being to go from how, because we're the doers,
Right.
to the thinkers
Wow.
of who you are,
Mhm.
what do you want, and why do you want. It's me taking you into that space. The last point I would make around AI is I personally feel AI is a mirror.
Mhm.
Yes, it is a tool, but it's a mirror. It is just replicating whoever we are.
Right.
So when we say AI failed, okay, that means if you were to do it, you were going to fail because it is doing what you're telling it to do. I learned that thought process of when I was one day teaching my currently 16-year-old, and this is probably 2 years old story. And I was teaching her how to make an Indian style cha. We were making tea, and she's asking me, okay, how to do it. And I'm going in an Indian style, wing it. You put a pinch of that and this and this and that, and that's how you make tea. And she has that blank look on her face looking at me, and she's like, can you be more specific? I'm like, well, that's how I was taught. That's how I still make it. And she's like, no, I need you to tell me a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a half of that, and one of that. And she's like, how am I going to learn how to make it and make it right every time? As soon as she said that, I'm like, you know what? That is the same thing AI is doing.
Right.
When we are not specific and we're not aware of our processes or systems, we're telling it how we wing it every day. So AI is going to wing it back for us. So between the two words of treating it as a tool, treating it that it's mirroring us, I think it's we as human beings have some work to do to properly utilize it to our benefit instead of building the air of fear.
Again, beautifully answered and a very sweet analogy there. Does she know how to make a good tea now?
Yeah, and she measures everything. And I'm learning from her that part.
That's amazing. I think I completely agree with you. It's the combination of human with AI that is going to go hand in hand, right? Um, so, Kiran, you're so passionate about what you're doing. Is entrepreneurship, business something that you always wanted to do even as a kid? Or is it something that you maybe stumbled upon in your career? Uh, like, where did this interest take you in your life to what you're doing now?
I think I'm a person who has never paid attention to titles. So did I, as a young kid, thought I'm going to become an entrepreneur?
Mhm.
No. Did I think at that time I want to become a fashion designer? Yes. So I've been more about skills or something I want to build or something I want to do than holding myself to specific titles. I always believe your work speaks more than your title will.
Right.
So as a kid, yes, I wanted to be a fashion designer and I did become one. Then I moved to Canada about 29 years ago and thought I'm going to continue my fashion designing and the business that I started. So technically, I did become an entrepreneur, but in the fashion industry.
Mhm.
And I thought I'm going to operate from here, but then I had my kids and life was different. And, different circumstances came. And I met somebody which somehow landed me in automotive as a challenge. And being a person that loves taking challenges,
Mhm.
I said yes. I thought I'm going to take that challenge for a few months and go back to my fashion designing, but then I fell in love with automotive. I did.
Right.
And I did all my studies for a bunch of years to upgrade myself and get to that skill set to do that. And then one led to another. So I personally don't believe in titles. I believe in what you enjoy doing. So that brings back to the identity part of who am I? What do I love the most? What can I deliver the best? What will make me happy doing every single day? And then I just allow whatever the challenges are in front of me to work upon them. But what I've noticed over the years is when you try to solve something that is in front of you, it always opens another door for you. And one door led to another door. And that's from there to now is how it was never a rigid game plan, but the doors open. And I just thought that, okay, when I'm doing this, I'm enjoying it. And it was more an alignment of opportunity versus my own fulfillment that I was enjoying it and a feeling of accomplishment every time I was able to overcome a challenge.
I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing and so much more power to you. I'm loving this conversation and definitely we'd love for you to be back, hopefully, for a deeper conversation the next time. But today, Kiran, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have for our listeners today, specifically for the ones who don't know where to take that first leap of hope, that's a leap of faith from, if you could whisper one thing into their ears, what would you say and why?
I personally feel that many times when we do business conversations, they may lack emotions, the feeling of love, presence. We somehow don't use the word love so much in the business world. I believe in those kind of things. So for me, one question every single day that I ask myself is, who am I really? And what do I want to do today? What is going to make me feel good today? That is how I keep myself grounded. And I think that is very important, whether you are a new startup operator, whether you have a small business to medium to large, or whatever you have in your plate. It is very important to ground yourself on a daily basis. That keeps your identity in check and it allows you to work towards every challenge that you have, whether it is challenges internally while you're laying your foundation of the business, or you are creating new pieces as you're growing your business, or whether it is external factors of, we have seen in my time recessions and COVIDs and, wars and oil prices and border issues. I don't have control on them. I can give my opinion every single day for 10 hours, but do I really add any value to it? So I believe in focusing in the areas where I can contribute, where I can make a difference and improve in those areas, which in the business world, I would say internally. You have a control on your strategy. You have a control on who do you hire. You have a control on who you are. You have a control on what you decide to do and where you decide to go. And you have a control in building your processes, systems, and your governance and strategies. That is where we can improve. We can improve our efficiencies. We can improve our scalability and strengthen our sustainability. Yes, we do not have control in external factors that impact us. So when we are focusing in what we have control in, it allows us to be better to respond to those external factors that are not in our control. And also, I feel like it keeps you off being frustrated. Because as human, when we're frustrated, we feel like, I can't do anything, I'm stuck. But whereas when you change your mindset into, I can't do anything here, but there's so many wonderful things I can do, and you focus there, it just allows you to create more and not feel annoyed and angry every day. But you are in that mode where you can do something. You don't feel stuck. And I personally feel that is an essence of how you feel abundant every day. And when you feel abundant, only abundance comes to you. So that's the secret to, I guess, also make some shifts in the business world.
Wow, I couldn't have asked for a more powerful ending to this beautiful episode, Kiran.
Thank you.
I genuinely can't wait for you to be back. But thank you so much for being here and doing
Well,
this with
thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you for having me here. And I hope there was some nugget. My conversation can go from a different thought process, but I hope it resonated somebody and it will add value to somebody.
Definitely. It added value to me personally, and I'm sure it will to all of our listeners.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
so
for having me.
Thanks a lot. All right, that was Kiran Mann from M2M Business Solutions and Brars, a masterclass in unifying human fulfillment with large-scale manufacturing output, deploying the newly launched Harmonic system to stabilize internal company culture, and understanding how her doctoral research on ethical AI integration is protecting Canadian small businesses in 2026. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit startupgrowth.ca for more such insights, resources, and conversations designed to help founders and businesses scale with clarity. To learn more about how we are supporting entrepreneurs and building a strong startup ecosystem, please explore the platform at startupgrowth.ca and also know more about us at canadiansme.ca. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.